So ways to fail at web security. So web security is a really big thing. There's so many things that we as developer need to be aware of that it's almost impossible to be on top of every kind of angle, because there's so many tricky ways that the hackers or attackers can get into our system, and I think it's almost it should be illegal to let developers free on the internet without having any understanding of how web security works, because it's a really scary place out there, and not having any kind of understanding of web security will just be a big fail for you, because hackers is constantly by automation hacking every site they can get that and do probing for finding holes in your site, and you have to have a clear understanding of kind of the basic principles of how do I protect my site, what is the attack vectors, and how should I protect myself. And this tonight is quite short, 1.5 hours, so we can't go into all details, but I'm going to show you a few ways that people are failing at web security, and also how you can protect against them. And also it's a constant battle between the attackers and between the good and the bad, because even Google, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn has all the security experts in the world. They still get hacked on a regular basis. So if they, who has all the money and capacity and resources, can't be protected, then that means that in theory we have a really tough job with limited budget and limited people to be on top, because it's a constant evolution of new holes gets discovered every day. And many companies do, for example, bug bounties, where they actually pay people when they discover a security vulnerability. So here's a list of companies who have, that give a reward when the site gets hacked. And then, of course, you have to follow a certain procedure on rules, how you kind of disclose and let them know about the security vulnerability. But if you do it in the right way, you can get quite a lot of money. So I think this is a good way for companies to show that they are active in the security community, to have a way for hackers to get credit for hacking stuff, because many hackers do want to get some credit for that. I'm good, I'm skilled, and I want my name on Facebook security site, and having these kind of programs where you can actually get some money, and in some cases quite a lot of money, like 100,000 Swedish kronor or more for kind of big security holes. I think it's a good way to reduce the kind of number of leaks of passwords or data files or other things. So you can go to, for example, to Adobe and see what they say about their security program, and if you do it in a certain way, you can get credits on the website for being really security hacker. So it's a constant battle, and I think our job is more or less to stay, be aware, starting to hack ourselves, to try to, what can I do to try to hack my system, because if the 15-year-old teenager can download some automatic hacking tool and start hacking sites, maybe I should do it myself and see what I can find by just trying my own system. There is there's a security guy called H.D. Moore who said, let me just do or coined a phrase here that casual attackers' power grows at the rate of Metasploit. So Metasploit is an open source tool to start hacking systems, and it's constantly updated with the latest vulnerabilities, 0 days, and everything. And so it's easy for a teenager to just download this tool, install it, and run it against some website or your internal network. So that means that if every 15-year-old teenager can get this tool, then our own security should be at least as good as this tool. We should be able to withstand a standard setup of this tool and not being hacked. So that I think that can be a good, level to kind of. We should be as good as, Metasploit. We should not be able to be hacked by Metasploit in its default configuration. So if we so then there's a commercial and an open source edition. So it's a very famous web security scanner, but do both web and your internal network and machines. So it's a really good tool to have in your tool chest, and we as developers should have this tool in our tool chest and try it on our own system. What happens if I let this loose in my own within my network and see what happens? Anyone try it? None. But I think you should try to run some of these automated tests to see where's the vulnerabilities, where is the security issues, and what's the kind of obvious holes in my system.
How safe is it to install on your computer?
Well, I mean, you can always install it on a virtual machine or on a laptop and just have it as your hacking laptop, and of course, but it's open source and it's a company behind it, so it's not something that is you just find by accident on the internet. It's you actually can buy it, and Rapid7, who is behind this, is a very large security company with a good reputation. So I wouldn't say that I wouldn't trust it. I think it would be.
Will you risk damaging something on your own system?
I don't think it will do any attacks that will destroy data. I don't think so. So I think you can be safe about that. But of course, backups. You have backups, of course. So another one is Nessus. It's a commercial tool that also will scan your entire network and find, and detect, to find is all machines up to date with patches and settings and global policies and so on.
Is it legal to use these tools against running websites?
Well, it's up to a lawyer to ask, to answer that, because of course you should not hack sites that are not allowed to hack, because it's not so good, because then the police might call or something. So I would say you should do it on sites that you're allowed to hack, of course. Because they do send a lot of traffic, of course, so it will be noticed either on your internet provider or your firewalls or other log files perhaps, if you do any logging. Many sites, and I think the problem today is that, if we have a house, we buy a smoke alarm and we know when our house is on fire or starting to burn, but a website, we have no idea it's being under attack. You check maybe your log files once a month at the end to see the statistics, and oops, there's a spike there, but it was 2 weeks ago, I don't care, let's move on. So I think you should have some kind of intrusion detection system in place so that you can get the first early warning that something is happening. Maybe I should shut down the system or make it read only or something. One popular one is called Mode Security. It's both open source and a commercial web application firewall that you can define rules. But if this and that happens within 10 minutes, then block this request. So I think we should always have something in between the internet and our services, that we do logging and we can do forensics when something has happened. We need to be able to go back and see what happened, what did we do, because our web server logs from IIS or Apache is not good enough. We need to have better logs, maybe even log the entire request headers and response headers, and maybe response bodies in some cases, to be able to do good forensic analysis. Yes.
These softwares that you showed us, will they check for? I assume they will check for like operating system versions of the service and Apache versions, etc. So, like if you use a framework for.
Yeah, I mean Java and PHP, and also user configuration of the directories, and group policies, and who has rights to what things, and all those details that you might not be aware of, and so it can actually be good tools to have in your tool chain. So I'm going to demonstrate a few things today, and ways how you can be hacked, or how you can gather information about your target. Example of common security mistakes, and show how easy it is to be hacked. And I mean, in reality, we see in the news daily that sites get hacked. You have password databases getting leaked. You have sites deleted, or and this is pretty expensive to clean up the mess after major hack like this. And it's daily almost. And I think how many has not heard of Heartbleed? Everybody heard of it? So, and I think it's just last week a major security vulnerability was discovered, and it's like a week ago, and in the OpenSSL library, and OpenSSL is the HTTPS endpoint for many systems, and over 2/3 of the internet are running Apache or Nginx, Linux-based web servers, and they are potentially at risk. And the SSL and TLS is the foundation protocol in the HTTPS, secure HTTPS protocol. So it's a major issue, and many websites was affected by this bug, and Stack Overflow, Yahoo, Google, Amazon, GitHub, Minecraft, Cloudflare, Akamai, but the scary thing is that many of these network devices, like from Cisco and Juniper and others, are also hacked, and those devices like home routers or network firewalls or routers, how often do we upgrade those? So I think many of those devices will be left unpatched for a very long time. And however, systems running on Windows are in general secure because they use their own SSL TLS implementation. So it's only for the OpenSSL specific that is at risk here. So what can they get hold of? They can actually get hold of private certificate keys, the secret keys that should not be exposed to the public. And why is this important? Because if you have the keys to the certificates of the via HTTPS endpoint, like if you go to Swedbank and you go to the login here, and this is the certificate, and if you have a private key, then you can actually pretend to be a Swedbank, and your browser will not notice that you are not the real Swedbank. So it's very convenient for a hacker to be able to fake the certificate if they have a private key. So it's a pretty serious problem. And the second thing that you can get is actually private content from other users' communication with the service. And there has been a few demonstrations where you have seen passwords and other private data. Like in here in the Yahoo, someone was able to see, the password of some other conversation with Yahoo. So it's a serious thing, and and you can get out, private information if you are lucky, as a hacker, of course. And so Cloudflare is a big content delivery network in the US. They put up the Heartbeat challenge. Can you steal the keys from the server? And I think under, was it 3 or 9 hours, they were kind of leaked. They got the private keys from this public test server. So to prove that, it's really an issue, potential issue. So, and but how did it happen? Okay, so the author of the code that was committed was actually committed on New Year's Eve, 1 in the morning, I mean, hello, get a life, If it was out partying that night instead, this bug would maybe not been, been done. So, yeah, maybe next year he will go out partying instead of committing code. But the person is of course not anybody. He is one of the authors of a heartbeat extension in RFC 6520. So he should know what he's talking about, because he was one who defined this heartbeat extension to the TLS protocol. And the actual commit, you can actually go open and see this commit source code. And 1 in the night, been out partying, but at the same time his code was actually reviewed by Steve, so who is also seems to be a doctor, so he should know his thing, you think, but yeah, you can go in here and look at the source code and explore and see the bug itself, but I won't go into that kind of detail right here. But so how does it work? Well, there's an XKCD comic about it. So your client sends a heartbeat message to the server just to kind of check, are you still there? Are you still there? Just to keep, to keep the communication channel, open. So he sends, potato, 6 letters to the server. So the server sees, okay, user Meg wants these 6 letters, potato. So he returns it back to the client, and that's fine. And then she does it again. She sends bird, 4 letters, and these 4 letters bird, and the server returns it back to the client. That's fine. But now, server, are you still there? If so, reply with hat, 500 letters, and then the server thinks, okay, Meg wants these 500 letters, hat, and the rest of here, and the server will return the hat and all the content after the hat string in memory. So that's the kind of a problem here, that by sending in, a short string, but specifying I want, the size of this package is actually, larger, you can actually expose and get out about 64 kilobytes of memory data in the response. So it's really pretty bad. And there's a good site you can use to test your private keys if it's been, been leaked. Anyone tried it? You should not try this. But the fun thing is actually 9,000 keys was checked. So I wonder, if we go here now and see. How 9,000 checked. So, why on earth did you post it here? Now it's not secure at least. So, people do expose these kind of hacks. So, so to test your service, if it's vulnerable, you can run various scanners against your own system, like SSL Labs, that will test. So this checker is actually pretty good because it tests how good your SSL implementation is. So you can test, domain like element.tc and let it run, and it will do checks against the HTTPS implementation on my server to see if I have, good or bad, settings, because there's quite a lot of different settings that you can set when you configure HTTPS. You have to choose, protocols and the crypto ciphers to use and other things. And if you do it too tight, you might lose a few clients. And so it's a balance of who your clients are that you have to kind of look at to see how strict should it be and how, locked down should it be. Because there's a few, weak crypto standards in the HTTPS, as a few, stronger ones. So if I run this thing, I should get pretty good. I got an A at least, and I got a few, bits here to work on. If I want higher kind of score, I have to kind of limit the kind of cryptos that I accept, and then I will exclude more and more clients like older Android phones. So it's a balance of locking the door for old clients. And so I can see here that if I simulate it with some old IE6 XP, then I will have some problems, an IE8 on XP. So, and if you tighten the cryptos and more clients will fail in this list here. So, and it does also do a test here to check if I'm exposed to the heartbleed, vulnerability, and in this case I'm not. So, it's in general a good tool to test your setup, and it's really nice because we have this SSL deployment best practice, a short guide on how you should best practice on about deploying and setting up your HTTPS configuration. That's another thing. If you're into HTTPS, you have a SSL Pulse that will give you a statistical summary of the state of HTTPS on the web. So you can see how many is the score, how many is F failed, and how many is A good, and and you can see other key metrics on. So you can compare, what everybody else is using on the web today. So these can be interesting statistics as well to use. So it's a good tool to have to scan against your system. And there's another small tools that you can use to test if you just have this heartbleed vulnerability specifically. But there's many tools to check for this bug on the web today. But the main problem with this heartbleed bug is that it's more or less undetectable, because it's nothing but it's logged by usually. It's not something that is logged usually by the webmasters of the sites. It's something within the HTTPS itself, and that is without the kind of scope for your log files, unless you have some expensive firewall or some intrusion detection system. So it's not logged. So you can just hit the servers with as many requests as you like, because nobody will notice, more or less. It's it's in the noise of of the communication. So you won't see it in the normal log files. So that's why it's a bit scary, because we don't know who has been affected by this bug. So okay, we can't be sure we have been compromised. And so what if we are kind of want to be safe? Maybe we should revoke our certificates and get new ones, just to be on the safe side that nobody has access to our private keys, because if they have a keys, they can actually start pretending to be us, and that's a pretty serious problem. So revoking a certificate is when you cancel it. You tell the certificate system that this certificate is no longer valid, and so that should be easy, because all browsers check for revocation by default, but that is not kind of true, because some browsers don't have this enabled by default, and why they do that is because it's a performance problem, because you have to do an extra lookup each time you make a connection to your certificate authority to check, is this still a valid certificate, yes or no. So Google Chrome has it disabled. Firefox and Explorer has it to enable by default. So what Chrome do instead, they have this kind of compiled list that it downloads like once in a while to refresh the local list of invalid certificates. So it's not kind of always by automation. So what you should do, scan your network to find OpenSSL installations. A scanner, there's plenty of them, but one is called Nmap. It's a very famous network scanner. Oh, Nmap. Let's see. So there should be in my pot bleed. Anyway, there's supposed to be some Heartbleed extension to Nmap, and Nmap is one of the kind of de facto tool for scanning your network for devices and open ports. So they have some addition to it to check for the Heartbleed attack. So scan the network, update the OpenSSL installation, get new certificates and revoke the old ones, invalidate sessions, and then donate to the OpenSSL if you use it, because I think they need the money right now to fix the issues. Questions? Silence. So we continue a little bit more, and then we take a break in like 10-15 minutes. Okay? So, man-in-the-middle attacks. Anyone been hit by one? Or you don't know, perhaps? So a man-in-the-middle attack is when a hacker somehow gets between you as a client and the server that you're talking to. And if a hacker starts to pretend to be the server, he can do quite a lot of damage by pretending to be like a bank or Facebook or something else. And today it's pretty simple to do your own man-in-the-middle attack, because you can just get a Wi-Fi router and do some configuration of it, and you get clients to connect to it, and then you just sit in the middle and listen to it. And that's pretty easy today by today's standards. And you just create a new free Wi-Fi hotspot, and then people will connect to it, and you start listening to the traffic, and that's good, Or if I want to hack, your company, I sit in the car outside, and if I'm outside, Axis and Axis free Wi-Fi, I sit in the car with a big antenna, and people will start connecting to it, and then just record all the traffic, and then I go home and analyze it. It's pretty kind of efficient to do. So, what can you do as a hacker? Well, you can steal the session cookies. And if you have a session cookies, you can start pretending to be the user that was, being attacked, and continue the session on the site as the person that was kind of hit by the attack. And you can start changing information. You can, in this case, someone didn't like that someone was stealing his bandwidth, so he made a proxy that flipped all the images upside down, and it's pretty kind of innocent kind of hack, just to annoy the person being, trying to steal your Wi-Fi. And you can actually inject JavaScript into your page. And I think that is the really scary thing, because if you get the hackers JavaScript into your page, you're pretty kind of toast. You can forget, you're pretty kind of, lost. So it's a really big thing, and it's really, really easy, because you just need to have this kind of device here. That's how you do it. And the thing is, this ready-made device for just man-in-the-middle attacks, it costs like $150 to buy in the US, pre-made, pre-configured, just run and go. And the scary thing is that many of your phones, they send out pings on the Wi-Fi to check, Malmö Central, are you there? SE, are you there? And my home network, are you there? Please respond. Or home run. And what my device do is that, yes, I'm home run. Please connect to me. And your phone might connect to it automatically without you knowing it. So let's see how much I've been, who is caught in my network here. So I can log into this device. Rolfs R, Gainsband, Skapa nätverk, iPad, Michael, Android. Someone recognize those? So they are caught in my device here. So what happens is that phones will start pinging out, Sigma Guest, Sigma Pad, MyCloud, Tele Gateway, Hi Angel, SCA. They will start pinging out those, networks. Are you there? Are you there? And my device will, in some cases, when it's not, there's no need for password, the kind of unencrypted Wi-Fi, it will kind of, in some cases, connect to this device. So Öresundståget, and and you see what they're scanning for different, SSIDs. JFocus. Someone was at JFocus recently. So this one, your phones connect to this one, and this one goes to my computer, that is connected to the internet. So you can actually surf on the web. You can also, if you want to, you see here, free Wi-Fi. Ooh, that's something, you must, use. So you can actually, if you like, to connect to that one and see what happens. So, yeah, right. So, okay, I got this traffic here. So, I got Wireshark. So, Wireshark is a tool that records all the traffic on the TCP/IP level between this device and the web. So I can see when they connect to it. Someone went to GW image and distillery, something, and Instagram and request, and I can look at the request and look at the headers and all the details. And maybe if I'm lucky, I can, steal some session cookies and so on. And okay, so that's pretty bad. But there's more things that you can do here. So there's something called, let's see, SSL strip. What that does, if I go to this site called demo.agement.se, it's a demo site I have. If I go there without this, this device, I'm just going to enable it. It's not so. Let's see if it's here. So at the bottom here, I have this, secure link. So what it does is if I over it, it says, it goes to https www.edument.se, and that's okay. And if I click on it, I go to the secure edition of the site, and that's what we expect. What SSL stripping does is it replaces all when a page is coming back through my device, it will remove all the HTTPS in the link with just HTTP and fool my client to not be encrypted. And so if I were to go on my iPad, for example, to this site through my Wi-Fi here, to this page and click on the link, I will be directed to the HTTP version instead, not the HTTPS. So that's an SSL strip, and by doing that, the server thinks that, it's encrypted, but the client here thinks that it's not encrypted. And the server will not notice anything, and the client, the only thing what he will notice is that he will be going to www.edument.se without the padlock up here. If I just go to the non-encrypted version instead. Does not want me to go there, but no? Forces me. Shouldn't do that. But anyway, so for some reason, let's try this one. So basically, I will get to edument.se instead. So it's a way for me to be in the middle between, the client, and I can get an unencrypted communication channel between the client and this device. And then I can just start recording all the traffic as I like, and and you as the user will probably not noticing it. The second thing that I can do is I can go into the. Can I stop this one? And I can go to the DNS. Let's see, loading.
This is inside your hardware device.
Yes, this is for inside. So it's just a plain Linux machine, but is, it's running there, and nothing more than that. Just a Wi-Fi and some Wi-Fi interface, and so on. So I think it's maybe time to take a break now. 5-10 minutes break. Get some beer, more pizza in another place. Continue with the hacking experience. One question.
Yeah, sorry, just about the SSL script.
Yes.
Is it possible, even if the server redirects from the HTTP to the HTTPS endpoint, like it doesn't allow HTTP connection?
Yes, because I have an old picture here in my some other slides I have. If I go to the, let's see if I have. So basically, what you get is this, but usually you expect to be, secure the whole way between the client and the server. But with SSL stripping, you make a non-encrypted here, but encrypted here. So the server thinks that you are encrypted, but the browser is in HTTP land, unsecure land. So, and it's pretty hard to protect against this, because the only thing you can do is to check the padlock if it's looks okay, or use a VPN tunnel or something like that.
Yeah, because I read something about the HSTS header.
Yes, you can do that, but the hacker here, as he's in control, he can remove it, so the browser will not get that header. So that's really not a solution. So it's a really kind of bad place. So it's a trade-off between flexibility and, maybe you can always have certificates on the client and on the server, and to make it really secure. But then you can't get the average users to your site. So it's a trade-off between convenience and security. So this device there's actually a new version 5 out, that is even more cool, that you can buy online, called Pineapple. So that's how you do it. So another feature here is we have a DNS spoofing feature. So I can actually go in and say that, when people search for like Aftonbladet, redirect them to this IP instead. When I go to Google, go to this IP instead. So if I, on this device, now try to go to like if I go to Aftonbladet, I actually get to this site instead, Svenska Dagbladet. So I can also redirect them, and if I go to, in some cases it works, if I go to Google, I should end up at the DuckDuckGo, the other search engine. So I can, redirect them to different machines. So I can actually try them to get them to Facebook, or, if I try enter Facebook and get them to my Facebook, and can steal them the login and continue from there. So if I am in the middle, I have full control over your traffic and where you go to and what machines you visit. So, and I mean, I think that is not so fun. There's actually a pineapple bar, so you can actually download add-ons to it. So you can get, jammers and DNS spoof and Nmap, the network scanner. You can get keyloggers, and that will inject a keylogger into the pages that you view, so I can steal what you type and other things. Evil Java, I don't know what it does. I'm sure it's fun to have. Trap cookies and other things. So it's a big, and you can even get, if you add a 3G modem dongle, a USB one, you can actually get 3G on this box as well, and just walk around the city and start recording. So in Wireshark, I can see all the requests here being made, and I don't know if there's anything fun right now, but if you're patient and lucky, I'm sure you can find some good stuff. So I will not hack you more now, so I will turn it off just to keep you safe for the rest of for the evening. So what's next? So I can inject JavaScript, and this is really interesting, because if I can get my own JavaScript into the page, I have a full access to everything that you as a user have access to in your browser. I can steal your cookies, I can steal your I can log your keyboard typing. I can in some cases get if I have Java installed, I can start accessing your hard drive. Okay, I can start attacking other machines inside your network or somewhere else. And so I think let's do that. So this is a ordinary page. I start entering some beef. My name is Tore Nestenius, and just Malmö and credit card and so on. That's good. I see nothing suspicious here. But if I, in a different browser, go to this site, my command and control center, I actually see my browser here connected to it. And if you anyone else want to try, you can actually go to this IP address. It's nothing dangerous. You can actually go to this address in your phone and see what happens. Because the thing that will happen is that, first of all, I can see what I was typing. I have a full log where I clicked on a page, I typed Tore Nestenius Malmö and my credit card. I have full real-time visibility in what I'm doing on this page. So if I go back to this page here, I start typing something, and I go back to this page. I check the log again. I see I typed. So what is really happening there under the hood? If I go to Fiddler, everybody knows about Fiddler, the tool, good. So it logs my traffic on the web, and you see here there's quite a lot of calls to hook.js. It's my beef ordering page that is actually calling home to my command and control server and asking for things to do. So it will constantly once a second send what should I do, what should I do. So in theory I can have on this page here hundreds of devices or browsers hooked to my browser here. So if any one of you would go to my beef page, you would actually end up here, and I could start seeing what to type on that page. So that's good. But we are evil. So I can go to the command section, and then I can now look at commands that I can apply to send to that browser. I can let's see if this works. So I can go back here. So I have this links here, and we see that the first one here goes to beefproject.com, and a link to slash dot here at the bottom, slash dot, this link here. So let's see. So I can actually try to replace all links with something else. So I can replace it with malmo.se. Execute. I send a command to the browser, and by not doing anything, if I'm lucky, the links here should change in real time. I'm not really sure if this will work, but if I'm lucky, it should work. Or no, it didn't work. But if you just configure it correctly and do it in the right way, you can actually start. Oh, someone else come here, join me. So, and if that person now enters in an order form, I can see what he was doing. So there's commands here for kind of modifying the page. I can do denial of service. I can detect if you have Tor network. I do ping sweep if I have Java. I can do fingerprinting of my network. I can do port scan and another hacks against that browser, and do various exploits against cameras, D-Link, links, cameras, if I have that in the network, and other things. So as the browser is hooked to my botnet, I am inside the firewall, so I can start doing requests to other machines on the local intranet, on your browser with your credentials, your Active Directory credentials, and nobody will notice. It looks like you and I was, remote controlling your browser. And I can maybe load some other page and put it in an iframe, and if you click around it, I'm still, in the background, listening to the traffic. So it's pretty kind of scary. And the beef thing here is an open source demonstration setup that you can download and start exploiting yourself, and to learn more about cross-site scripting and the vulnerabilities of getting evil JavaScript into your page. So
that was the only thing you did. You added this evil JavaScript to the website then?
yes, so this page, if you look at the source code, there is a link here to hook.js, but it takes from the same site as I loaded it from. So that's all. I can just get the hook.js. So if I can get like 20 characters into the page, I can start controlling your browser and have a fun time. So So the web is really a scary place, and there's many more attacks that you can get attacked by. But I think it's a very good demonstration because it really shows and highlights the issue here. And so JavaScript is evil, and what you can do, for example, if you have Firefox, you can use the NoScript add-on. Anyone running NoScript? There's a few. So I feel running, so turn it off. So NoScript. So what it does, it by default blocks all JavaScript, and you have to whitelist them and enable side-by-side basis. So at the beginning, of course, it's a bit annoying you have to enable JavaScript on many sites. But the thing is that you are protected by this kind of if you happen to get to a really bad site by mistake, and then you will not execute that bad JavaScript. Because if I'm a hacker and I want to get JavaScript into as many browsers as possible, how do I do that? Some idea? What's the easiest way for me to get JavaScript into your browsers? Any ideas? Simplest way? It's to buy an advertisement. I can go to some advertisement agency, some not the top one, not like DoubleClick or the major ones. Some smaller ones small ones, because the big ones, when they don't have anything to show you, they will go to their partner network and to see if they can get some to fill the inventory with, and if they don't have some, they go to the next one. And if you go to someone that does not kind of check your banners in a good way, then your banner will get through the network. Or for example, you just go to a site directly and say that, hi, I want to buy a banner on your site, how much do you charge? And you pay them, and you send them some JavaScript, maybe minified, obfuscated, so they can't check what it does. And in the beginning maybe it looks good, but then you change it to something else, and then you just collecting the goods. So banners and advertisements is a really effective platform to deliver bad JavaScript to your browsers. So how can you prevent this? Well, you can look at the icon. Are you on a secure tunnel or not? Is this a secure site? And if this is correct, then of course you can be pretty sure that you are safe. And of course, VPN tunnels is another way that you can use to really check if to have a secure communication between you and your company. And there's things like certificate pinning, or have a client-side certificates, but it's usually pretty hard to set up and configure, and maybe too annoying for the end users. Another thing that we as a web user can do is something called fingerprinting, and we were discussing that on a break here, and I was going to show you quickly. So fingerprinting is something where you send some JavaScript to the browser, and you do some, check the memory, the operating system, the fonts you have installed, plugins, and you combine them, and you make like a hash value of that data. And I got some slides on that somewhere. Yes. Okay, so in theory, I can do this kind of simple JavaScript that iterates through my navigator object in JavaScript, and for each property makes a long string, and then you just get the hash code of that string. And then you can get a identifier for that browser. And if you are logged in, and for some reason, this value changes, that's weird. I mean, usually you don't change the browser while you're surfing. So that could be an indicator that someone is hacking your session. It's like if some user logs into a site and changes this user agent request header, that's also been a sign that something bad happened. So this simple JavaScript, if you run it in different browsers, you will get different values. And if you record this value when you're logged in and then check it once in a while, you can detect if the browser has moved to a different platform, and that should not be allowed, and we can ask them to log in again. And to get even more details, and if I do this on the navigator object, I can get the information like this. You can get, app name, version, language, MIME type, plugins, user agent, cookies enabled. And for most browsers, these are different values. Not many browsers have exactly the same setup here. And if you want to be even more detailed, you can actually look at the screen object itself as well. And then you can get, the pixel size and monitors, and those are also pretty kind of variating between machines. So many kind of, financial and in Skype and other companies use fingerprinting to make sure that we're not, an attack or being abused by fraud or something like that. And there's a few commercial, fingerprinting companies. But if you want to try this yourself, there is an open source site called Panopticlick, I think it is, if I'm not wrong. Not so fast today. Oh, this one. So this is by the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and it will make a test of your browser to determine how unique your browser is. And I'm going to reload this one, and let's go to enable. So I think I should see some more. I want to take a different browser instead, Chrome instead. So it just does some testing, and it says here that my browser fingerprint appears to be unique among the 4 million tested browsers. So that's pretty kind of unique, my browser here. So just by checking my screen and navigator and other properties, I can get a pretty good pinpoint to that I am me. So this means that it's really, really hard for me to be anonymous on the web and hide my identity, because they can track me in many, many different other ways. So I can see here that what they kind of based this on. So user agent, accept headers, browser plugins, time zone, font, system fonts, cookies enabled, and other things. So it gives this kind of script quite a lot of data to make to base the checksum on. So it's really kind of really hard to try to hide your identity on the web, because they can track you anyway. Does that ask you your questions about fingerprinting we had before? So certificate pinning is one way where you if you may be using some web service and have, for example, a REST-based client, you can do, for example, to have like the public key in your client, and when you make a connection to some encrypted site, you check the public key against your hard-coded key in your client, and then you can determine if the certificate is genuine or not. So that's one way of to harden the communication between, if you have like a mobile client and a web service, for example. So it's not really hard to do in code if you want to do this. Shodan Anyone heard of it? It's really, really fun things. So, on the web, we have millions of billions of websites, and Google does an excellent job of searching and indexing that space. But the web contains so much more information. We have websites, of course. We have web cameras. We have SCADA systems. SCADA systems are industrial control systems, very popular in the industry, and popular targets for hackers. We have factories, power plants, machinery that is, exposed on the web. Traffic lights, power plants, network, routers, switches, printers, you name it. There's so much more on the web. And the Google does not search this space, but Shodan does. Shodan will search this space and find all of these devices for you and search index at that and make a searchable, friendly user interface. So, how does this work? So, Shodan will go from IP address to IP address to scan the entire web. It will, for each IP address, check these ports and some other ones and do a banner grab. So, what does a banner grab mean? Well, it's a technique to get more information about the service that it's on that port, on that IP address. And the banner is the kind of welcome or hello message that the service will return when you make a bad request to it. Like a website will return with something like this, if you try to connect to it. And or if you go to like an FTP server, you can get some idea of domain or version, or if it is a database, you can get some details about the database. So it's like a friendly text message that the service will return back to you if you connect to it. So Shodan will just do a connect and make a request to it and record and index the response that comes back from that port. And so let's look at this. So this is Shodan. So first of all, where should we start hacking today? Well, let's first look at what is my IP address. So this is my IP address right now. So I come to this site. I'm in Malmö, own it. This is the ISP. I can go to IP2 location to find some other more details about the IP address. So IP2 location is a nice service. They sell databases where you can do lookup from IP address to country and city and longitude and latitude and another kind of positioning based on IP address. And it's pretty useful if you do like advertisement to check, I want to show Swedish banners to people from Sweden and English banners from people from England. So it's pretty good service, and I use them myself in the past. So, but I can get some more information here about the IP address. But that maybe is not kind of interesting here. So my IP address is this. I can go to Shodan and look at net, and I can look at let's give me the kind of a first subnet. So it says that I have 10 UPnP devices. I got 10 HTTP endpoints in the same subnet where I am right now. So I have own it as one server, and I can see here the kind of a banner that is returned from this IP address on that port. And I can see the domain to it. And I can go down here and see, I can websites and some IMAP thing, and I can see some, FTP server, and and so on. So, and I can look for example, I can look for, Apache in Sweden. I can get a list of all the Apache machines in Sweden, and I can get some more, filtering by, protocol and so on, and I can drill down to different cities. I can find specific version, for example, Apache 2.9 in Sweden and on running Windows, for example. I can find those machines. So if I know that I have vulnerability on a specific version of Apache or PHP, I can actually start finding them here. I can also add host name Axis. We have some Axis people here today, so let's look at Axis. Host name, it should be spelled. So, okay, if I look at just the host, I can find, Frank, VLAN, 130.se, something, but I can continue, hacking. So, Veyron, XFTP, I don't know, something you recognize? Yeah. So I can find those devices that you may otherwise think that, it's not public, Google won't find them, nobody will find them, but it's actually findable. And I think it's a really good way to actually scan myself to see actually what devices is actually public on my network. Because I might maybe have exposed some port that I'm not supposed to happymeal.se.axis.com. I don't know. McDonald's perhaps. There's some camera of some sort. Okay, of course it says login incorrect and so on. And what else I can look. You can look at your IP address using if you're on your network, you can use this kind of, what is my IP address, and start from there to scan that and see if it finds anything. I can search for port 9100 and to find printers that is public, and replace. This one is a new toner, apparently, and I can go to this IP address and see what happens, and I get to a printer here and I can okay, I need to log in some details, and I can start maintenance information and start printing or something else on it. I don't know. Can have some fun, I think. So, but the scary thing is many companies leave, power plants, industrial control machines, really kind of big industry things on the web here, and phone systems that are exposed here. And you can find, Cisco. If I go to Cisco routers, 200 last modified is a good search string for public Cisco routers, for example. So it finds 9,000 here, and if I go to this one, for example, maybe that was a boring one. Let's find something else. So on this one perhaps. So you can find a lot of kind of public devices, but they are not supposed to be public, and some are not even protected from unauthorized access. And you can find SQ webcam. Video systems, video web server somewhere, and you can start hacking, maybe find the default login and username and password for this type of camera and start logging in and have fun. So there's even a search directory here, so you can find popular art bleed. So that's trendy right now. So you can look at queries that looks for version 1.01 of OpenSSL, and try to find something to hack here. So Shodan is a good tool to do kind of this kind of investigation. So if you want to attack someone, what's the attack surface, what do they have public, what machines do they expose, and start hacking them, because they are usually maybe not so protected as the main website, like a test servers or dev machines or something else. I can look for many other things. I can also look for like host name like malmo.se. And see what's in the malmo.se domain, or that contains malmo.se. So like I found a lot of kind of web host something by Malmö, and and so you can start finding those kind of internal machines on the Malmö network, and if you're lucky, you maybe find some open FTP or something else that you can start have fun with. So Shodan is a really kind of nice tool to start your first kind of hacking attempt against someone, to find what are they exposing. Some other things that people do as mistakes are like this one. So if I search for this term on Google, I'll find about 183,000 hits. So what is Elma? So Elma is a library for .NET that handles exceptions, errors. So it's a very good tool, but the thing is that they make it public for anybody to see. And when you do a search, you can actually find in these pages, invalid user code password, username, password, for example, on these sites. So 183,000 servers or sites are exposing the exception log to the public, and if you're lucky and dig here, you can find a lot of kind of private information, or details about the source code, or stack traces of someone seems to be doing a cross-site scripting attack, trying to send in a script parameter. So you can see a lot of kind of details here. But the scary thing is that you can even find session cookies. Now we're talking. So if you can find some fresh session cookies, you can have some pretty lot of fun here. But just searching for this kind of information. So many mistakes that people do that expose and leak out private information. And if we want some more fun, we can search for file type config. This one. Everybody knows what web config is. It's the kind of config file for websites. But I'm looking for FTP. So people are stupid enough and having open anonymous FTP servers for their website. So Google gets in there and starts indexing the FTP service and finds all the web configs. Pretty amazing. And if you add, modify it and add password at the end, you can get database connection strings. Nordisk Kallblod is some database name on this IP, and you have a user ID and password. You can just give up, when you're doing this kind of stupid mistakes and exposing this private information on the web. But it gets worse. Google Docs. Inept and foolish people are revealed by Google. So Of course, there's a website for this, Google Hacking Database. So if we go to this one, we can actually look in the categories of what do we want to have today. So, files containing password, perhaps. Okay, let's try that. So I have a long list here of funny query strings. So I can look at, for example,
Could you kill the lamp again?
yes. I am sorry. So I can, look for. Let's see if I have some. Looking at something. No. So I can look at, fun queries to run. So I can look at this one, for example. I can do this one. I can look this one again, so the video looks good. So I find Excel files with passwords in them that I can download and look at. So I can look at this kind of Excel file. Of course, it's stupid to run Excel file from the web, but it's fun. So I have can be interesting information. Here's something something it's ID and password, So by using this site, you can find quite a lot of interesting queries to run, and there's tons of information about credit cards, social security numbers, and secret information and other things. So it's just a matter of doing the right searches, online devices and other things. So it's really interesting site. So don't be a Google Doc, robots.txt. I mean, how hard can it be? I mean, how many users robots.txt on your website? It's pretty good to have, I think. It's common sense to have one. I mean, you want to have one usually, or not. But you can do quite funny kind of searches here in Google for robots.txt. And for example, you look at this one, disallow data.zip. I mean, so I think they're using some tool that scans the directory of a server and places disallow on all those files. But you're showing, what can be downloaded, and that PHP BAKK, backup file. I doubt that file is protected by the server. Or, not be source.zip or not be full.zip. I wonder what that can contain. And it also gives you clues about what are the directories on my server that I should maybe start looking at if I want to hack this site. Some other things, webconfig.bark, pretty useful, or data.zip or ul.zip, for example. It's all about Googling and you will find this information. And some other database backup files. I mean, it's like heaven. It's like a candy store for the average hacker who wants to have fun. So it's really a scary place. So bad links. So of course we will not click on this link here. It's obviously a bad link. All agree on that? It's a bad link. I hope on that. You won't click on a link. And you will not if we start encoding, we will not click on it. I'm with you. I won't click on that thing. But this thing, we are happy to click, and we don't have a clue where it leads to. And we do it every day on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere. And it's really stupid because we don't know what we're clicking on, and we don't know if it's a cross-site scripting hole on that site. But even worse is this crap. QR codes. We have no idea what that means. So if I'm hacking, if I want to have some fun, I will go downtown to all the advertisement posters that have a QR code on them, put my own sticker on it, with my own QR code, and people will scan that thing, and I will get my traffic. Great, win. So actually, if I scan this code, you get this, script alert as the link, and you have no idea. And if you're not, computer savvy like us, who wouldn't do this thing, you would probably, get hit by this attack. So there's many ways of, being hacked. So, hacked by a single email, that can't be possible. Yes, you can be hacked at home by just viewing an email on your iPhone or Android or something else. How is that possible? Well, yes, you can. So what happens if I send you a cute cat picture email, and in it I have my cute kitten here, link. Oh, great, cute. But I have some hidden iframes that makes HTTP requests to my usual, local router, and trying some different, default passwords on different kind of, common links to change the DNS settings, for example. And you will not notice because many routers will allow, without logging in or directly doing a GET request with your login and password in the link, accept that request and change the DNS settings. Stupid. But, so, how would you protect against this? Well, you will first of all not have the default password on your router at home. You will of course have changed it, and like all you have done here, you don't have the admin default password. The second thing is that this is doing a GET request, and if you're truly a web developer, you know that you don't change things by doing GET request. It should always be a POST request when you change things on your server, of course. So by limiting the verbs that you accept on your server, you will make it a little bit harder, because it's a bit harder to make a POST request from an email than doing a GET request. So it's a very simple, problem here, how you get hacked, and by just viewing a single email with a cute cat. The cat is important. So it's just a matter of trying, different IP addresses, but that is a local, 192.168.0.1 and 1.1 and some other things, and there is databases on the web with a common login and passwords for these devices. So we're running a bit short of time here, so I'm just going to show you one more thing. In the routers, some routers have even, hard-coded backdoors. So in some D-Link devices, if you have a user agent set to this thing, you get in directly. And if you read this backwards, it says edit by Joel backdoor. Isn't even D-Link products, older ones. That's pretty kind of interesting, So, so I have two more kind of interesting things. So, social engineering is the other way how we can get hacked. We can trick people to think they go to Facebook, but they get somewhere else. So, Unicode, our trusted friend Unicode, can do some really fun. So if, for example, PayPal, the word PayPal, we can write in many different ways, because many different Unicode characters look the same. So we can actually replace some of the characters with some Unicode ones instead, but the link will look quite the same anyway. So on this site, we can look at, for example, Malmö, and we get, different kind of Unicode characters that looks like Malmö, but will not be the same as Malmö if you compare the strings. So we have many different kind of symbols that looks like an M, and they have all different code points with different kind of values. So if you try to compare them, they might be different. So that this can be used in a social engineering attack against some victim. So how would you do that? Well, this is a good start with this kind of, you maybe can craft some link that looks like a Facebook link. But we have Punycode. How many knows about Punycode? 2 at least. So Punycode is an encoding standard to encode Unicode strings to purely ASCII 8 to Z and 0 to 9. And they're used by the International Domain Name System. So it takes Unicode strings and translates it into purely an ASCII string. And really convenient. So if I try to encode like Malmö, I might get this string. I encode mañana, I get this string, and cafe.com, I get this string. And this China or this Korean thing, I get this, random number. So that's good. Very practical and has some use cases. But if I go to my browser and type www.örebro.se, what site do I go to? I go to this www.xn-rebro-iua.se. So the one who has that domain will get the traffic from örebro.se. Interesting. So I can show that by go into Fiddler. I can go to like some AOF consulting company. Someone from AOF here today? No, that's good. So if I go to AOF.se, I get to the site, and you see up here the link, and I can also see in Fiddler the request to it, and it should be so many other things. AOF consult should be here somewhere. Let me just. I got so many botnets and other things in my browser, so I think I should, clear out here. So now we're on a fresh start. So I go to AOF SE. I look in Fiddler at the top. Aftonblad. I don't want Aftonblad. I have some more. I'll do this again. So here you see the first link goes to Excel. So if I go on to my loop or domain registry and register this XM, if it was available, I will get the traffic from AOF.se. So that means that I can actually go and register a domain for like going to this. If I go to this, this site here and look at, for example, I want to have a link to axis.se. I can look at, okay, maybe this X looks good. I replace that one, copy it, and I go to my browser. Let's clear Fiddler first. I go to this axis with a different thing. So if I register this domain, it looks like an axis link. If I, paste it here, if I register this link, if I register this domain, I get the axis traffic with a slightly different X, and I can social engineer maybe some boss or some hotshot at this, and ask them to click on my, link, check the latest, public reports for, secrets from Axis, and I can redirect them to my own site that looks like Axis and have some beef botnet code inside and some other cookie stealing things. So the social engineering is almost as powerful as the web hacking as we've seen earlier today. You like it? So Unicode can be pretty lot of fun and also a lot of problems and headaches. So the last thing, if I want, let's do Axis again. If I want to get into your private network, inside your firewalls, the easiest way for me to do that is like going there and trying to apply for a job and get inside the receptionist. And I know it's pretty hard because I've been there, but badges and everything. But on an ordinary company, you go inside the reception and you go to some office and have a interview, and you borrow a bathroom, and you go past a print or something, and you plug this device into a power outlet and a cable into the network. And this device contains a 3G modem inside. Wi-Fi hacking is a more or less this kind of device. So I can remote control from home over 3G or GSM and start hacking your internal network as I was a device on your LAN. So it's really easy, like pretending to be, I'm going to repair your, replace your printer toner or something. I come and knock on the door, I have to change the toner, and I go backside the printer and plug this device in, and then, leave, and then I can sit home and nobody will find this device, It looks like a adapter, and this even includes an air freshener label that you can put to it to look at more, as an air freshener or something else, some, good thing. So it's always good to have, fresh, So it includes all the hacking tools you can ask for: Metasploit, SSL strip, and Nmap, and you can do port scanning and hack your network. And so, it's really kind of a weird place.